All right. Well, I hope I look decent enough here. And I got a Star Wars, like an old school Final Fantasy / Star Wars shirt rocking here. Don't mind the power cord. My headphones died a little earlier. The 4.2 patch for Final Fantasy 14 came out, so I've been spending a lot of the day getting things caught up in there, trying to, get first day stuff out of the way. And I do some recordings for that I've been posting the storyline up on my YouTube channel. All right. Dun, 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 let's scroll up. Once more, I've created a random character generator worksheet. I have a dice roller open here. We're going to reset it so it's good to go. And who develops in this world that we're creating? You and me, audience. What kind of a world are we building? Who lives in it? We're going to discuss options. We're going to pursue whatever we're given as we pull these characters from the ether and make them real. Memory Lapse says, seeing just how deep one can dig into creating a character is half the fun when starting a game. Yes. Unless you're specifically going for an optimized character, or you do what's called care op or min-maxing, and that's then just, it's a numbers game. How much DPR, damage per rounds, can you inflict? Or can you be this super wizard that you may not have a ton of damage, but you have such a focused spell list that you can, you're nigh unkillable if that's what you're trying to go for. Otherwise, we're here to tell a story, and, we get pens and pineapples, and then we make pineapple pens with them. All right, starting out, we got to see the race that we're working with. That's going to be a D10, a 3, and the sub race is going to be odds or evens. Evens. So, 3 sub 2. We'll look that up in a second. Next is the roll that's going to determine the gender of the character and if the character is multi-classed. 1 to 45 is female, 46 to 90 is male, 91 to 100 is a multi-class character, and we'll roll again to see if we get another multi-class or if we just stop there on a single class and lock it in with the gender. 29. Okay, so this is going to be a female. Alignment. We're going to roll percentile twice. One for the axis of good, neutral, evil, and the other for lawful, neutral, and chaotic. Here's our 2 percentiles. 95. Oh boy, we have another evil character coming up. Evil and 68. What do we got here? 68. All right, so we have a neutral evil. Dun dun dun. Hi, Rody. Thank you for joining us. Memory says, I have a personal world that I created for multiple campaigns that I've made, and each campaign can play into the other. In my opinion, as a seasoned DM, that is the mark of good storytelling. You create something that's thematic, that's universal. You can apply a lot of the concepts to almost any situation. You can carry the story over. Things fit and make sense. All right, now we're going to roll a D100 to see if this character has feats. 37, no feats. It's just going to be ability bumps depending on the ultimate level of the character. Actually, you know what? After alignment, that would be level. So let's do this. We have a 37. This is going to be a level 8 character. And now we'll roll percentile for the feats. 53. That was down here. There we go. 1 to 70 with stat bumps only. Alright, this is going to be a straight up level 8 character. Which, in 5th edition, that's fine. You can go right off of your ability scores and just increase your ability scores to be more well-rounded, or you can sacrifice those in order to take a feat of some kind, which brings you down a more specialized route. Okay. Now we're going to roll a d12 and get a big chunk of information. That is which class this character is going to be. 1. We have another... Oh, geez, we have another neutral evil barbarian. And the archetype is going to be odds or evens for 1 or 2. We'll roll the d12 again. Evens. All right. We made a berserker last night that was fairly high level. This time we are going to make, what's it called? The Totem Warrior. While not necessarily a caster, this is a spiritual barbarian who takes on animalistic features because of a totem that, in this case, she ends up bonding to. Like, she finds her spirit animal and goes from there. While we're down here... Ooh, cool. Halfling Barbarians are fun. I was talking about him. I had a Halfling Barbarian in a campaign once called Jib Mountain Shaker. And he was he was a lot of fun. And this is sub-race 2, meaning this is going to be a stout, meaning they're going to get a con bump. Boy, we almost couldn't have done this any better, especially because barbarians need dex. Halfling stout. We'll put female here so we know. And then for a placeholder, 15, 14, 13, 12, 10, and whoop, 101. Ooh, there's a stat. And 8. These are going to be what we're going to drop into our ability scores. Okay. A little bit more information. We're going to do some weight and height. So let's come down here. This is information taken out of the player's handbook, and I formatted it in a way to make it nice and convenient. You know what, my me is in the way a little bit of this. Let me see if I can scroll up a bit. Okay. We're going to be looking at this line. Halflings. Here. They start at 2'7", and they can grow another 2d4 inches. 6. So she is a mighty 3 foot 1 inch tall, and we take that 6 and we multiply it over here by the weight modifier, meaning in this case it's just 6 pounds, so she's going to weigh a whopping 41 pounds, probably 45 if she's wet. I mean that in like she jumped in a pool, but I want to keep it PG. Hey, you know what, Rhodey? It's an even chance, male and female, so maybe things are just tilting in that favor. There are... I think there might be some other standard arrays. I can take a look in the DMG after I take a quick break after this character. And in fact, we can even try doing a... We could even try doing the original method, which is rolling 4d6 and drop the lowest, and that will give us some other stats as well. This way we're demonstrating different ways to create a character. So, good thing you brought that up. I'm always open to these ideas, to trying something new. You know, we do bread and butter, and then, hey, we'll mix it up a little bit. Very peaceful music for, you know what? This is a... We're making a neutral evil barbarian here. Let's get something that has maybe a little bit more... here we go, skirmish. Very good. Alright, we're going to roll a percentile for her age. She rolled a 69, which is going to put her in midlife. for halflings, they reach cultural or intellectual adulthood at 20, but they can live to be 250. So if she's midlife, we're probably going to be starting around... I put a human equivalent over here for comparison. We can probably start her midlife, but then we have old, venerable, ancient. That's going to be sort of on the back end. We'll start her at 125, and we'll roll 2d20 and go from there. I think that sounds like a pretty good spread for a middle-aged. So 125 plus 17. So that's 32, 42. She's 142 years old. This character apparently also doesn't have any feet. Alright, now we need to give her a background, and that's there are 13 standard choices out of the PHB, the PHB. Let's roll the 13. She's 12, so she has a soldier background. Now we come over here to soldier, and we see that there is an other column, meaning this is what kind of a soldier or what she did in the military. And this is going to be a D8 we're rolling. A 5, and we'll look that up in a second. And then personality traits. We're going to roll 2d8 here separately. She has a 7 and a 2. For her ideal, bond, and flaw, we're going to roll d6s. You know what? We don't need to worry about the total. It'll give us the separate if we just do it this way. So we're going to do this. And it gave us a 111. 111. And we'll fill that in a little bit. Alright, I believe that is going to take care of this. So now we can concentrate on putting in work for the PHB. We're going to do the background first because that gives us skills and proficiencies, and we can retroactively go back and make sure that our race nor our class will make something redundant with the background. Pardon me. Soldier, Outlander, Sailor. Here we go, Soldier. Her specialty was 5, while a Barbarian, she's a healer. Interestingly enough. Oh, sorry to hear, Rhodey. Try not to drink orange juice or eat salty stuff, I guess, if you burned your tongue. Memory says, the next character, I would say go into an exotic build while rolling for stats if you can manage it. It would give a good range of things that players look into, nor experience-wise, because all DMs look for different things in their campaigns. Okay, so yeah, we'll make this one a bread and butter, by the book. And for the next one, we can go in a different direction with that. No problem at all. Her personality traits. First one, 7. I have a crude sense of humor. Well, that could mean a lot of things if she was a healer in the military. Like, you don't need that bone. Here, let me get rid of it for you. Or, oh, it hurts. Oh no, what was it from Happy Gilmore when his grandma's put in the nursing home and she goes up to the really mean nursing director and she's like, my hands hurt. And the director looks at her and says, well, guess what? Now your back's going to hurt, Grandma, because you just pulled garden duty. Because again, evil doesn't necessarily, though it can, mean, you know, oh, I get up and I eat babies every morning for breakfast. Like, I'm obviously evil. I'm going to do wicked things. Not all evil characters do that. In fact, that's kind of the psycho minority. Partly that's why Kefka in Final Fantasy is a great villain, but not all the villains are that, haha, I'm going to just kill everyone and everything. Okay, her other personality trait is a 2. I'm haunted by memories of war. I can't get the images of violence out of my mind. So this could be a part of her, like why she has to make these crude jokes, or even why she is taking this selfish route of being evil. You know, maybe instead of just asking, she presumes, you know what, you're better off dead than with this injury. Something along those lines. Her ideals? Greater good. Now, this is for traditionally a good character, but we can still work with this. Our lot is to lay down our lives in defense of others. Going by the book, this is still workable. By generating her as an evil character first, this means that we can creatively think about how we can apply these personality traits and other aspects. In this case, we might be able to add in a parenthetical phrase of who earns it. This character might be willing to do so, but after all the deaths she's seen as a soldier, as a healer in the battlefield, she's not opposed to doing it, but someone really better be worth it. Otherwise, she might just help you out of your misery because she's feeling superior to you. Well, that's the beautiful part about writing and storytelling, is anything can be anything, really. Her bond was a 1 also. I would still lay down my life for the people I'm fat fingering it. So this seems like a very selfless thing. If we are going for the neutral evil bend or the selfish bend, this statement can still be true, but let's put our thinking caps on. How could this work? Well, especially with what we've determined above, I would still lay down my life for the people I served with. We could add another phrase to this. However, they are all dead. And nobody can seemingly take their place. So she experienced a tragic event. She lost this group, and you know what? Especially as a healer, that you could have healer's remorse. And so you know what? She would lay down her life, but who has stepped up? Who could ever be as good as the captain of her squad that she served under and who died on her watch or under her care? And lastly, her flaw. The monstrous enemy I'll go back and fix that spelling. We faced in battle still leaves me quivering with fear. Criminy, we're making like a 3-foot tall Guts from Berserk here. Alrighty. What do we get here? Our feature, we get military rank. She's level 8. We could probably type this out here, or summarize it at least. Where it is recognized, you can get transportation and or supplies in the short term. All right. She's going to get athletics, and she's going to get intimidation. She gets a gaming set of some kind, as a proficiency. And we'll look at the shop and see what's available, or we can just make something up too. Gaming set and vehicles, land. So she's good at driving a wagon, you know, carts, things like that. Equipment, she gets insignia of rank. A trophy taken from a fallen enemy. A dagger, a broken blade, or a piece of banner. So, monstrous we can take in two ways. It was a monster, like a big dragon or something. Or making the guts parallel when they first encountered Zod. Hey, yeah. Pull out your Pahaba memory, and we can take this in all kinds of directions. Monsters can also just mean overwhelming odds. It might be interesting, especially given this this loss, this kind of loneliness that's driving her towards, you know, the evil or selfish actions. If it was a monster, so why don't we say something instead of a dagger or broken blade? She has a trophy. Tooth of the beast that killed her squad members. A set of bone dice or a deck of cards. So we'll just put game set for whatever we end up determining. Common clothes. Belt pouch with 10 gupa in it. Well, the PBH is the player's book of hand. Bone dice? That's true. You know what? If she carries the... If we're saying she has the tooth of the beast that killed her, we can say she has proficiency in a dice set and bone dice carved from the above beast. Good suggestion, memory. All right, let's go back up. Oh, we passed by the halfling. Oh, not yet. Never mind. I am a dirty, filthy liar. That's a gnome, a Dargonborn, Human. Here we go. Here we go. So our dex is going to get a natural 2 bump. And because she is a stout, she is going to get a con bump of 1. So we're going to put placeholders there. She gets stout resilience, making her kind of dwarfish in her ability to shirk off poison. Which barbarians, you know, for as much as we say rogues are good trap finders, barbarians are excellent. They do it completely differently. They'll just run down the hallway and trigger everything because they'll just, you know, they'll like flex out the poison dart, or, you know, break the arrow in their hand that's lodged in there, or you know, the boulder comes rolling down and they just, you know, oh no, stop it and go from there. Or carve from the... Ooh, you know what? So maybe she escaped because of their sacrifice, and so memory lapse, you made a good point. Maybe she actually took their bones. You know, she's a medic, yeah. You know, it's not like she hasn't seen bones before or something, but she took trophies, bone trophies from each of her fallen comrades. And bone dice made from her comrages. Awesome suggestion. That adds in a little bit more flavor, and it shows just how, you know, if we want to make her grim dark or something, we can really go in that direction with this this fluff and this flavor. Okay, she has a base speed of 25. Barbarian's going to bump that up when we get there. Advantage on... Advantage on saves versus poison, comma, and get poison resistance. The lower level characters, you have a little bit more room to write everything out. Lucky. All halflings get. And you know what? She was lucky to survive whatever this battle was. When you roll a 1 on an attack, ability, save, you can re-roll the die and must use the new roll. Like lucky dice that she plays with because maybe they'll sacrifice. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking too. Brave. You have advantage on saves versus frightened. Shorthanding this. That, I guess, is a short joke. And halfling nimbleness. You can move through the space of any creature that is of a size larger than yours. Boy, think about that. So we got this little short stack Halfling Barbarian, and we give her something like a big, we can give her like an axe, or even, we could probably modify that to a great sword, or we can even go like a great club. And imagine this little chick who's upset with you dashing underneath your legs and maybe bringing something pointy along with her. Whew. Languages. Common. Halfling. And I believe that's all for that. And we already have the subrace filled in. We're making really good time here. Yeah, we can still call this greater good. She's not good herself, but it's her ideal. There is a greater good even for someone who is evil. They still have a concept of what a good world would be. Experience points not applicable because we're not going to play by those rules. Memory says, maybe the dice have carved out holes to put a string through them and wear them like a bracelet or necklace. Yeah, you know, those are all details that, you know, we can fill it in. You know what, if this goes really quick, we can maybe even start writing in some of the details outside of the stat blocks. So, I mean, chat's moving at a, you know, at a pace that'll be a sticky note for a little bit here, and we'll come back to that and we can flesh that in a little bit. Good suggestions. You, Rhodey, anyone else in the audience, you can keep them coming. We're all building this character together tonight. Alright. Now let's go to our little barbar. Which actually, Little Barbar was the name in one of my early campaigns that introduced barbarians as being from, there were mountainous people who lived in a tribe called the Barbar. Well, some bad things happened on the mountain and those people were displaced. And so the country that displaced them made a place for them on the outskirts of town. And while it was subjected to the rules of this, the rules of this land, so think almost like an Indian reservation in today's world. They're under federal, you know, jurisdiction, but they're their own entity. They had their own subset of the city, like, you know, Little China or whatever. Well, it was called Little Barbar. And it had a culture all of its own that was apart. And it was an interesting thing in the campaign to weave in. You have these, you know, civilized city folk who, they have their own way of life. And then meanwhile, you have, a couple thousand, primitive people, very, primal, naturalistic, who move in, and wackiness ensues a little bit. Bard. Nope, we got to go up a little bit more. Here we go. You are going to get a couple things here, my nameless friend. You are going to get Rage. And this is going to be a whole stat itself. We're going to just leave markers because we got to level her up a lot. Rage. Unarmored defense. Reckless attack. Danger sense. Oh, her primal path, that'll get filled in when we get there. She's going to get 2 ability score improvements. Extra attack will make when she gets fast movement. And feral instinct. Memory says since it's getting a +2 bump to Dex, maybe throw it into a bow style barb. That's true. We might be able to do something along those lines. Let's see real quick. That could lead to an interesting idea. Yeah, I think we could do something along those lines. Heck, if we were to give her a great sword, that'd be 50 gold. Now, it does say you can start her out with a 30 gold great axe, but you know what? She's not level 1, so whatever. At some point in time, she's come down. Now, a longbow is definitely an expensive piece of tech here. She's not going to be... unless we want to give her something like a heavy crossbow. So, she's kind of carrying around this, this big, like, oh, I gotta reload it and go from there. Although, I have to double check. Heavy, small creatures have disadvantage on attack rolls with heavy weapons. Okay. Yeah, so that... Giving her a heavy weapon is doable. She will have disadvantage on all of her attacks. That's not... I'm not saying that that's necessarily a bad thing. It's something you could just roleplay through. Or if nothing else, that means that you use your reckless attack, which gives you advantage on your attacks in exchange for for granting advantage against attacks against you. But instead of moving ahead and having all of your attacks be done at advantage, you're just rolling all of your attacks at straight up. Otherwise, maybe we might be able to reach some kind of other... Good thing about a mustache is you can twirl it as you think. We might be able to give her something else, too. If we want to make her a dex bard, there's still options. That would play off well, a reckless longbow barb. Yeah. We can go for it. I don't want to get too far ahead, though. We'll come down to equipment in just a little bit. I want to make sure I'm getting all of the barbarian features. I thought there might have been a great bow that existed, and there could be in a splat book or in a module to make it official, but I didn't see one in the common equipment list. Alright, so that brings us down to 8. So this is going to be 12 plus con. Well, really, this is going to be 12 is what she gets at first level. And then she has 7 more levels of average plus 1. So that's going to be 7. Plus con times 7. Nope, con times 8. She gets the bonus for first level. Remember, if you bump your con score up and you receive a new modifier, that modifier retroactively goes back through all of your levels and increases your hit point pool from there. Alright, let's assign some scores now. Oh, she gets an inspiration. So 15 plus 2 is 17. Her second highest for sure should be Constitution. 14 plus 1 is 15. Now, this is where we can start nitpicking her roleplay elements. We can make her wise. That could give her perception and insight, animal handling, and survival. These could all be important. As well, medicine, because she was a healer, is wisdom-based. I think that would make for a strong tertiary score. Otherwise, we can give her some cunning and make her intelligent, some charisma, and she's a bit of a face. Just because she's evil doesn't mean that she can't get along with people. Because again, maybe it's a selfishness or she's very broody. Or we could still enhance her strength. She could still be strong. If you in the audience have any suggestions here, let me know. I'm personally leaning for dumping the 13 in wisdom. But you know what? We're doing kind of a quirky build of a reckless barbarian, I guess we could call it. While you're thinking, I'm going to fill in her other proficiencies. Light, medium, armor. Shields. Simple martial weapons. And Barbarian itself doesn't give tool proficiencies. She is a strength and con base saver. And there's some skills that we can put in here. Animal handling, athletics, intimidation, nature, perception, and survival. Wisdom, strength, charisma, intelligence, wisdom. I think wisdom, I think we're making a strong case for wisdom tertiary here. I'm going to fill in a couple scores, and you guys can let me know what you think about that. Well, memory says 13 to strength, so she can wear chainmail. Something to consider is the unarmed defense that barbarians get means that if they're not wearing any armor, they get 10 plus their dex mod plus their constitution mod. And that chainmail does provide a higher base, but it limits your dex to 2, if I recall correctly, and you won't get your con mod added to it. So she can wear it, especially if we did bump her strength up, but would she? So in this case, maybe she just, doesn't mean that she has to be, what is the artist? Ari Salvatore is the writer. Frank Frazetta. He does like the old, like that iconic, like the 80s style, like space or fantasy barbarians, often there's a lot of skin showing kind of a thing. She doesn't have to be, some, naked jungle warrior. I guess she could in some sense. But, this just means that she wears her normal clothes and she's just so good at dodging or avoiding attacks, or, she does, strike stopper kind of a thing. Yeah, it would come down to it. You can make her unorthodox. She can always put armor on, but barbarians often... You have to think about it this way, too, especially if we're building her so that she has to recklessly attack, that she's going to be granting combat advantage, meaning she's going to get... Even with armor, she's still probably going to get hit a lot. Or even without armor and her bonuses. Barbarians are great frontliners because they have a huge pool of hit points, and you have to remember that they get built-in damage reduction against some types of attacks or damage types, meaning that she's going to be taking half damage from attacks that hit her if they hit her, and even then, she's going to have a ton of hit points coming in too. Let's see. You know what? She is a survivor. She's going to get 2. She's a survivor. And... we could always go perception. I think we've had a lot of perception characters. And if we're building a character who has this regret that she wasn't there or she couldn't, she's the lone survivor, but everyone else gave their lives up, that probably means that she didn't see the trap, or she didn't hear the monster coming around the corner kind of a thing. So in this case, I don't know if perception is going to be, roleplay wise, the best skill to give her. Maybe we can go animal handling here. As she is a bit of a loner, maybe we can go and give her a pack mule or something along those lines. She does have experience driving a wagon. Otherwise, it can be domesticated. I'm kind of open towards it. If she's just an animal person, and heck, maybe she has maybe we give her she's a halfling. Halflings can ride ponies, although dwarves often do. Halflings, I believe, can ride mastiff dogs. And so maybe in this case, because those are just big. I mean, mastiffs are really big dogs. So maybe that animal handling allows her to tame animals that she can then have accompany her. I would give her medicine if it was available. Now, again, we're talking if you and I were sitting down, Memory, and you were making a character for my campaign, and you said, look, she was a healer, she was a soldier in this case, going through, could I swap something out in the background for medicine? Well, you know what? What does soldier give her? Athletics? Athletics and intimidation? You know what? I think we'll make an exception here, as we're kind of slowly... we're having a standard base, and we'll grow from there. As we're incorporating more story into this character than we have in other randomly generated characters, why don't we replace intimidation with medicine, since she was the group healer? Especially because how intimidating was she if this monster, did what it did to the rest of her to the rest of her crew? So by DM fiat here, I am permitting the movement of a background skill into something that seems more flavorful and roleplay wise. In this case, as a DM, I would judge and say, alright, I've made this exception for you, player. Now it is up to you to make sure that you're using that ability, that you're incorporating that as part of the story you tell with your fellow party members, or even if we're creating a villain for a campaign, that it comes up in some way. Alright, we gotta go to her primal path. And this is gonna get fun because she's a totem warrior, which is all the more reason she should probably have Animal handling. The path of the Totem Warrior is a spiritual journey as the barbarian accepts a spirit animal as guide, protector, and inspiration. In battle, your totem spirit fills you with supernatural might, adding magical fuel to your barbarian rage. Most barbarian tribes consider a totem animal to be kin to a particular clan. In such cases, it is unusual for an individual to have more than one totem animal spirit, though exceptions exist. Spirit Seeker. Yours is the path that seeks attunement with the natural world, giving you a kinship with the beasts. At 3rd level, when you adopt this path, you gain the ability to cast the Beast Sense and speak with animal spells. Hey, we get to use our 3rd page here. Totem Spirit. At 3rd level, when you adopt this path, you choose a Totem Spirit and gain this feature. You must make or acquire a physical totem object, an amulet or similar adornment. So here, we're going to make a note here. Totem of what kind? Which could also be feathers, claws, or if she's a bone collector, it seems that she is. Maybe she has bones of an animal that... memory says it would play into her regret as well, not being intimidating enough to save her comrades. Yes. At your option, you can also gain minor physical attributes that are reminiscent of your totem spirit. For example, if you have a bear totem spirit, you might be unusually hairy and thick-skinned. Or your totem is the eagle, your eyes might turn bright yellow. So let's make a note down here that the totem we choose for her is going to influence slightly her appearance. I think that's a great roleplay cosmetic effect. So she is going to get the totem spirit and an aspect of the beast. Your totem animal might be an animal related to those listed here, but more appropriate to your homeland. For example, you could choose a hawk or a vulture in place of an eagle. So we have three ways we could build this totem warrior. We have a bear or bear. While raging, you have resistance to all damage except psychic damage. The spirit of the bear makes you tough enough to stand up to any punishment. An eagle, while you're raging and aren't wearing heavy armor, other creatures have disadvantage on opportunity attack rolls against you, and you can use the dash action as a bonus action on your turn. The spirit of the eagle makes you into a predator who can weave through fray with ease. And especially given the fact she's a halfling and can already move through enemy spaces, that could be really cool. Wolf. While you're raging, your friends have advantage on melee attack rolls against any creature within 5 feet of you that is hostile to you. The spirit of the wolf makes you a leader of hunters. Wolf is a must for the first. I think it is. Well, state your case. Personally, I wasn't leaning towards wolf. As she's a leader, I don't know if she has leadership qualities, at least not as we fleshed her out just yet. I don't see her as this coordinated pack hunter, especially because she's trying to find people who could even, well, I don't know. She's trying to find people who could match her old crew. But would she be interested in leading them, or would she just want to... Yeah, she's strong and assertive, but ultimately, does she want to lead, or does she just want someone strong to follow? Because something else to think about is what is the aspect that we want her to take on as well. If she goes bear and we stick with the one animal path, you gain the might of a bear, your carrying capacity is doubled, and you have advantage on strength checks. Well, we didn't really build her to be too strong. Eagle, you gain the eyesight of an eagle. You can see up to 1 mile away with no difficulty. And you know what? We bumped up her wisdom. She's okay at perception. Something like that could... She trained herself so that she wants to try and make up for having not as sharp as senses. So she's using this totem animal to help her... Memory says in reply, trying to help her new comrades that she's found, and she might regret. Okay. If we go wolf, then in that case at level 6, you gain the hunting sensibilities of a wolf. You can track other creatures while traveling at a fast pace, and you can move stealthily while traveling at a normal pace. Okay, so you're saying eagle first and wolf second? I can see that, because we don't necessarily have to stick to the one animal path. With her, you know, she's gone through change and flux. We've not really said that she's a part of a one totem tribe. In this case, she was a part of something. She does know structure and organization, but she was forced to be on her own through this tragic circumstance. Let's do that. We'll go... Totem, eagle, aspect, wolf. Alright, that fills that in. Now, because she's level 8, we're going to give her some stat bumps. I think one that makes sense, the first one, we're going to get her new modifiers here. So we're going to put 1 and 2. That's going to be an 18 and a 16. After that, we can either put 2 in 1 or 1 in 2 again. If we do that, we can bump her wisdom up and round her out more, or we can specialize her and make her an even like a bulkier if we go to an 18 con, or we could take her to her natural cap of 20 in dexterity. Memory says, eagle first for reasons you stated, but wolf second to track the enemy or enemies that cause the downfall of her comrades. Yes, that's good logic. So tell me, we can put a 2 in something, and I think that's going to be wiser for right now. Do we want to bump her dex up to a 20, making her hit more often and hit a little harder, or do we want to bump her con up, giving her more hit points? I would be naturally inclined to go dex because that does make her a little bit more survivable. It has good offensive and defensive capabilities. Though con, you know, it's free hit points, and because she's going to be reckless attacking all the time, she's going to be hit. Having more hit points isn't necessarily a bad thing. So we have 2 strong contenders. What do you all in the chat think? Should we give her a 20 dex or an 18 con? While you're figuring that out, the ones that we're not going to touch, I'm going to assign the modifiers and begin filling in. Whoop. Her proficiency bonus is a 3. Kill before being killed is a strong contender. We could say she trained herself for it. Okay, Memory, good suggestions. If we do that, and we bump her up to a 20 dex, that's going to give her a +5. And because she's hit that natural cap, as she progresses through whatever storyline that she'll be put through, she can then focus on bringing up her other skills, or taking a feat, or something along those lines. So now let's fill in her skills since we have this. Now we're at Wisdom, which is 1, so she's going to get a 4 here. $11 because passive perception it's a 10 plus your modifier. Memory says, I mean, she naturally rolls a 12. Rolls a 12 every level anyway, so best bang, yeah. Arcana. What is a magic? Can you eat it? Is it tasty? Who is that person that did that thing? Might have difficulty putting a square peg into a square hole. Why bother knowing the name of the berry if it's poisonous? I'll just not be poisoned. And don't they all have kind of round-shaped holy symbols? Athletics is strength. So she's just going to get her straight up proficiency. Charisma is a +1. She'll try. She may not be the best, but she can still try. We can figure out her armor class with unarmored. Unarmored defense is going to be an 18. That's really good, actually. That's really good. Initiative is Dex. She's a very twitchy barbarian. One of her abilities gives her an extra 10 feet, so she's going to go up to there. There. She's going to get 8d12 hit die, and she has them all right now. Since we have these numbers... 5, carry the 1, 3, 7, 8. 85 hit points. Memory says, can't say she can't kill before being killed. Yes. $85 maximum, and she's at 85. All right. So, we've made a bit of a backstory for her. Now we just need a couple more details. Oop, actually, for a barbarian, a great axe or any martial melee weapon, we're gonna replace that with a longbow. So her first line of given equipment is going to be the longbow by DM Fiat here. 2 hand axes or any simple weapon. You know what? You can't go wrong with a dagger, and you can use a dagger with your dexterity if you wanted to. And then we have javelins. And an explorer's pack. That's a buttload of HP with a big score to damage and initiative. Yep. And you know what? If she starts raging, that'll be pretty fierce. Let's make the little note that is a heavy weapon. Her attack bonus, because she is proficient, is going to be 5 plus 3 plus 5 plus 3. So she has a plus 8 to hit. And then we're going to carry this down. $1d4 plus 5 piercing. Javelins I'll have to look up. Longbow I'll have to look up, but I know that She's super specialized in being able to punch holes and stuff, though. X. 1d(x) plus 5. 1d(x) plus 5. Alright. Hello again, Avelion. Welcome back. We are putting the finishing touches on a neutral evil Halfling Barbarian. She's not just a bad guy to be bad. As we've rolled her, she was a healer with her soldier background, and she lost her squad to a big monster attack. She was the only survivor, and that made her really kind of bitter and jaded. And so she's turned kind of solitary, you know, she's turned kind of feral in this, you know, she wants to get revenge, or she wants to try and, maybe deep down she's actually still really scared despite her appearance. And she wants to try and find a group that could hope to be as good as the people that she was with, because she has this seed of regret inside of her. Memory says this is what happens when you work with a DM when creating a character. Yes. She gets 2x attacks also. While I'm filling in the weapon info, if you all want to think about what is the appearance of this little halfling barbarian, and remember that we should give her some aspects. It doesn't have to be major. But we should give her some aspects. Something should be kind of wolfish or canine. Something should be not equine. That's horse. It's what is it if you have like a hawk nose? I think it's equine, not equine. But anyway, like some sort of a hawk or eagle or some bird of prey feature. But we need to describe her hair. And that's not just color, that's her type of hair, length, color, whatever. You know, streaked, dyed, braided, beaded, something. Her skin, similar. It's not just the color of the skin. What is her skin texture like? Does she have freckles, scars, whatever? Her eyes. And we're also going to have to give her a name. I'm also going to roll up a trinket for her to have, too. Here we go. Javelins are D6 piercing. And a longbow is a D8 piercing. Short sword, to answer your question, is up here. It should be simple. Oh, you know, maybe it is martial. Yeah, short sword, 1d6 piercing damage, not slashing. Velian's coming through. We got some suggestions here. Yellow eyes, pointed nose, love red hair. What are these characters for, by the way? Part of my stream, I just want to randomly generate characters. It's good practice. It's for character generation in 5th edition. It's awesome practice for storytelling as well. Just by simply hitting a random number generator. In this case, RNG is our friend. By hitting a random number generator, we are pulling from the ether numbers, and we're giving a story to them. We're making this character come alive. Yeah, it's not set in a module or a campaign, at least not right now, but we're able to conjure these images of these characters and practice, you know, some thoughtfulness, some storytelling. Evelian, but like before you came in, or at least before I saw you started commenting, Memory's been proposing some changes. Like, well, instead of like a hitty barbarian, what if we made her a ranged barbarian? And so we kind of hemmed and hawed a little bit, and we said, you know what, that'd work. Let's make her a ranged barbarian. And so we gave her a longbow. And the interesting caveat here is because she's a halfling and a longbow has the heavy quality as a weapon, that means she's at disadvantage on attack rolls because she just has this big, huge, the bow's probably 1.5 feet taller than she is. However, as a barbarian, you can do what's called a reckless attack. If you go reckless attack, which I would almost always, 9 times out of 10 suggest you do, you grant advantage on attacks against you, but you get advantage on attacks. So while she won't get advantage on her attacks, she can use a longbow normally by canceling disadvantage if she's reckless attacking. So you have to imagine you have this 3'1", halfling, and she's carrying around like a 4.5 foot tall bow at least. And, here she is, though, and, oh boy, if we get into rage, she's not the strongest, but her rage will also kind of bump her up and round out her stats, her strength stats, and things she can do there. But she'll just pull back on this longbow as hard as she can, and twang, twang, twang. Not even like a little plick, plick, ping, ping. This is a longbow. You get that, like, that loud reverberation. Memory, I would put a scimitar in there, but for the pre-bought package, it gave her a simple weapon, and scimitars are martial. So we're looking at if you want to replace it with some kind of a simple melee weapon, you can. Otherwise, yeah, something like that could round out her damage types. And yes, she's level 8, and we only just gave her a starting package. We'll do some things. In this case, let's just have her start with this, and then these are things that we can consider for her, because we may not fill in all the characters at once, because once we have a good cast, now we can start forming parties, and we can weave them together, and then we can, put them on little mental adventures together as a crew. So, make a mental note, and we can purchase stuff for her. She's gone through 7 levels of adventure, even after the events of her being a soldier that made her this loner, barbarian type, this person of the wilds. What do we have here left? I think that was about it. We had some suggestions down here. We saw yellow eyes, so that's fine. So she can have some bird of prey, like these glittering yellow eyes. Pointed. So she has kind of the almond shape of elves, but maybe a little bit more so. So maybe they just come to a finer point. They're just very sharp eyes that she has. Yeah, yellow can be wolfy too, so that does straddle each there. So now we have her skin description, and we can use hawkish eagle-like hawkish or eagle-like traits. Like maybe, I don't know, maybe she actually has a ring of feathers that grows from her wrist, or like over her forearm, or out her elbow. Or if we go wolf, you know what? Not all women have these perfect hourglass forms, and only have hair on the top of their head and their eyebrows, kind of a thing. She could have just like a thick shock of hair, or heck, we could give her a tail. I don't know. Maybe instead of fingernails, this is a side character detail, maybe, but maybe she actually has claws, or like the tips of her bones have grown through her skin in a quasi-Wolverine style. Yeah, Evelian, and very well, she could have unshaven pits. She has hairy legs and arms. She's a woman who lives out in the nature. You know, these are concepts, and this is something to, you know, we can have a serious discussion about this too. You know, we're talking about, you know, different cosmetic things, or, you know, I'm not trying to be PC or, you know, or cause a controversy like what people consider to be gender norms. Look, we all have hair, we all have nails, we all have all this. It's what we do with it that helps give us a personal tune. You know, you go back to 2nd edition dwarven women, they had beards. All dwarves had beards, even the women did. You know, that's modified over time because of cultural expectations. You know, I think they still have, at least female halflings still have the hairy top of the foot, you know, because they're hobbits. Memory suggests talons. Steel Dust suggests she could have a kind of ruffle mane-like patch of hair on her back and neck. Yeah, that's true. So she has her natural hair that she would have as a halfling, and maybe the hair just in the same thickness as the top of her head, not even like a ponytail, just continues down. Yeah, that's true as well. So I like that idea. It will make her, you know, more feral. It'll make her more beastly of appearance, and maybe that earns her scorn or ridicule, which doesn't help her evil alignment much, but that's something personal that she has to get over. Yeah, talents might get... Yeah, that's true. You got these sharp things here, and you're pulling back a string, and instead of going twang and letting an arrow go, your string just goes twang. Give her a griffin look to be more wolfish. How would we manifest that? Let's see, she's midlife, so let's give her, brown hair with gray streaks. And now we can fill out a little bit more. Oh, so that, all right, I'm sorry. That's to load a picture. We can find something along those lines, but we can. Yeah, sharp teeth is. Her fingers can be kind of scaly, or however you describe. Oh yeah, because they have the yeah, they do have kind of scales. She is most likely outdoors a lot, so her skin would probably be like at least tan. It might even be a ruddier color. If she's taking on these sort of animalistic features, it could have like almost like a rusty, like a reddish brown. Oh, Evelian says I like the word tawny. Yeah. Tawny could work as well. Alright, as of right now, she doesn't have any allies or organizations. That's something that we can fluff up later. Additional features and traits. She doesn't have any that we need to expound on right now. Treasure, she's not discovered any treasure just yet. For character backstory, she was a healer in a squad of soldiers. They were all lost to a monster. Whoop. Mosner. Monster attack. She regrets having them die and has taken a somewhat solitary path of regret afterwards. She's become selfish, and things may never seem good enough, despite her wanting them to be. Could maybe say that she's a part of a guild as well, but considered an outcast because of personal problems. Yeah. And so instead of a soldier, in that case, we could say maybe she was a mercenary. She was in a army for hire kind of a thing. That could always be an option. For right now, we can keep it generic and just say squad of soldiers. That could be public or private. Channeled her rage, lending her to barbaric qualities, and seeking to naturally improve herself by incorporating the spirits of animals around her she considers to be superior. In that case, we can even make a note here. Maybe she seeks to become a monster, as the prior one was so tough. So it's almost like a you know what, I hate you, or it's like the Vampire Hunter D, right? You have the half vampire that hunts vampires. So in this case, maybe she saw the awesome ferocious power of this monster that killed everyone else, and she hates this monster, whatever it is, absolutely hates it. It's the focus of her rage, her literal and her metaphorical rage, being a barbarian and just a person. We're making 3D. We're making, well, I'd say human, but she's a halfling. But to beat that monster, she feels she must become a monster herself in order to contend. Hopefully that all works for you. I think we're having some good ideas. Could even take this down multi-class road for a ranger. Would fall in well with Totem Warrior. Yes. Maybe we'll come back to her one day and we'll do a round 2, or we'll take her on a little mini adventure, like a narrative that we all share in chat. Kind of again, like a Twitch plays D&D style, where I'll grab some of these characters and we'll pilot them through an adventure of some kind. Okay, tawny rusty skin, brown hair with some gray streaks, golden eyes that are pointed, very sharp looking. She needs a name, and you know what? At this point, maybe she doesn't have her traditional halfling name anymore, or maybe she knows what it is. She hasn't forgotten it, but she just chooses not to use it. So she maybe adopted. She goes by her nickname that her squad mates called her. Maybe she just took on a name for herself. Maybe other people who live in the area and who've seen this wild woman roaming around call her something. There's a lot of options that we can work with here. Now, are you talking Grayhawk as in that's a suggested name, or are you invoking the Grayhawk campaign setting in D&D for some aspect? As a name? Okay. Cool. We have an evil character who's not just a bad guy, or a bad girl in this case. Yeah, maybe it's a nickname or last name. You know what? If she's a woman of the wilds, maybe she just goes by Grayhawk. She has a ton of flavor, a ton of backstory. Is cool, is compelling, randomly generated, and has just an amazing stat block. Is just really, really neat. She has the tooth of the beast that killed her squad members. She made dice from the bones of her fallen comrades. And she's on this path of self-improvement? Question mark? Hurry up, people, get in here so there's transcoding. Hi, Shadzar, welcome. We just finished up, I don't know if you've been lurking or not, but we just finished up the first character for the evening. We rolled up another barbarian. Super compelling backstory. It's a story of loss and tragedy as to why she's evil, which make for awesome evil villains or even evil characters. I can't watch 50 frame per second streams; they buffer too much. Oh, well, I don't know. I don't know if I'm coming through at 60 FPS or not, or if I am, this probably isn't as graphically intensive because we're scrolling through a PDF every now and again. Okay. So what I'm gonna do is Grayhawk is done. I'm going to take a quick break. You know, get something to drink. You know, use the facilities, etc. I'll be back. Just give me like 5 minutes or so, and we'll do another character. And at Memory's suggestion / request, we will do a slightly not basic character. For stat generation, and we can do some other fun things. Maybe you give him or her an unusual weapon, build something a little unique or weird. So we're gonna pause the battle music, go back to the card here. Dun, 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 dun. So, I'm going to put a BRB break and at 105. That'll give me just a little bit of time here, and also make sure that my cats aren't going to be jumping on here, just so I can make sure they're fed. Shedzar says, I heard my name, but the buffering is so bad I can't hear much else until quality options kick back in. Oh, thank you, Tabletop Heroes. You caught me just going on a break. You're welcome to lurk for a little bit, and we're going to come back, and we're going to roll up maybe a slightly not traditional character in 5th edition. So, hang in there. I'm going to mute the mic and go do what I need to do, and I'll be back in just a little bit. All right. About to make our triumphant return, and then we'll make our second character for the evening. Ta-da! Hello again. Let's get some background. Get some arabesque playing. Cool. Okay, so for this one, earlier when we were making our first character for the evening, oh,